confrontational nature because a lot
Yeah.
of the snippets you have are very in your face.
I didn't know that the album was going to be called Me Versus Me until a little bit later, 7 songs in. We had album cover mock-ups done of like Police tape. I wanted to do I saw OT The Real did a joint called Desperation of December, and I had a picture of the K and A L stop and all that. I'm a big fan of OT. I kind of used OT as a template as far as his consistency and a few other things that I saw him do. We showed up at the video with Millie's. They put us in the video. My son was in the video, so we like official Soup Kitchen members and shit. But I did that first, you know. I'm like the OG from Kensington that went through and pioneered a lot of different stuff, drug corners, getting shot, getting beat up. Yeah, I pioneered all kind of silly stuff. But they also knew that I was out there selling mixtapes. We used to move from corner to corner. I'm talking about drug corner to drug corner, third of Indy to fourth of Indy to Crazy Brothers, all around this place called Kensington. It's called the Badlands because every corner is a drug corner. And we used to sell mixtapes where we would take a list of the drug dealers' names and then go back home, write the rhyme, record it on 10 cassette tapes, take it back to them. They pay us $250, and then it was like a little street thing that went on where we was making, I called them posse tapes, but we made tapes for drug corners, and they all had their individual theme. I did it with Mechanism and Prime Minister Dope. Both of those dudes appear on my Lost Archives album on Rough Nation, which is now out on double color vinyl. Chris Schwartz was incredibly instrumental in starting this whole jumpstarting my life again, you know, because there wasn't stuff. Well, the pandemic money came and that helped a lot because that let me get all of the stuff that I didn't have easy access to in my attic as I do now for like 20 years. So I always had this dream. I want to sit in my bedroom. You know, I want to sit in a room just with my drum machine. I had dreams that I wish I could just have a key to my own house. And I didn't have that at certain periods of my life. So I remember riding back and forth on the Kensington L because it's cold out. You ain't got no place to go. You better, you know, you riding on the L, at least it's warm, and saying, damn, I wish I had a fucking key to my own house or my own room, anything. Homelessness is no joke. I've been through pretty much the gamut. And if I can come through the ringer, I don't think I might be specially blessed to scratch, but I think that anybody can do it if you apply yourself in the right direction. Direction is key, and willingness. Are you willing to go out on the ledge to say what I'm saying right now? Am I willing to go in front of an AA meeting where I don't get to start them? I mean, it's not going on YouTube. The things that I say at the AA meeting is not going to go on YouTube. I still got to come there, and I get to practice my public speaking, so it makes me feel easier with you. I studied for you. You know, I studied. I didn't make a list, but I got a notebook. It's not open right now, though. I'm going off the top.
Fair enough. Well, also on Me Versus Me, one of my favorites, and maybe my favorite, is He Gots to Die. And that one has the famous lines or section from The Education of Sonny Carter.
Yes.
So why does that movie, or at least that snippet, mean so much to you?
I was sending a challenge out to the other DJs with that one, and I just wanted it to end quick. The intro to that starts with an internet sensation kid named Super Hot Fire. I'm about to end this man's whole career. And that was a shout out at maybe some targets that I'm going to keep in my head this time, because we got into a situation last time about speaking about enemies and saying their names and all that. I always have to have somebody in my head that I'm aiming at that's better than me for me to chase, the carrot in front of the mule. You know, sometimes I put the cart before the horse in my ideas. I wanted to make a whole album with 20 songs, but I hadn't done song number 1 yet. So I realized, well, let's make it one at a time. And then when we get, you know, halfway through, we can take a breath and then regroup and do the last 10. It was a challenge to come up here, you know, between football practice and swimming and taking my son to school. So I'd take him to school in the morning, go to a meeting, come home from 11 to 2, make whatever I'm going to make, and then go back and pick him up from school. And I would email, I would text the stuff to myself, render a copy of what I just did, text it to myself, and then walk to school listening to what I made, and then come back and add some more cuts. So the process was great. You know, I'm glad that I was able to find a routine. And that happened in, like I said, 68, 72 days, somewhere like that. And the album was done. One thing that did spark me up is some of the songs that I had halfway done. When I talked about this wall, hit a wall, I took him to Thorough, paid for his session. We just did the instrumentals and I brought him home. He put a little twist or a filter on it. One of them that ended up with him helping with the arrangement significantly just by putting a filter on certain parts was Stalker. Stalker is one of my favorite ones because it starts with the bombing of Move. So it's Philly centric. And you never underestimate your opponent is again, Frank Rizzo, a polarizing icon in Philadelphia, whether you like him or dislike him, it exists. So I want to go, you talked about conflict and controversy. I wanted to give the story of Philly's conflict. There's a lot of murders that go on in Philly. Bodies are dropping here. Fentanyl is in the streets. Trank is in the streets. People got sores all over their arms. There's a lot of chaos going on in Philly. I wanted to translate some of the chaos that I see every day and that my son sees as well through a sonic soundscape produced by the detonator. I got to have explosions and stuff. But another song that one of like my top songs on here is The Burning. That sample is from The Fog. And for any producer, I'm going to give you a hot tip. If you get the Fog soundtrack, you got hundreds of hits possible right there because the Fog soundtrack is fire. You can send a check. You can send a check for that information to my Cash App at DJ Too Tuff.
Yeah, well, The Burning also has that. I really like the piano that's on there, and you got the drugs and the newscaster talking about how these stuff might be drug related and confiscated drugs.
Yes.
So, especially in the second half of Me vs. Me, there is a lot of drug discussion. One of my other favorites is Shake the Devils, but
yes.
For you, how does your past being an AA member and this internal battle, how do you decide to talk about, to include a lot of drugs while you're also battling addiction at the same time?
That's a great question. So I always was in the mix. I like car chase movies. I like Fast and Furious. I like horror movies and monster movies and stuff like that. As a kid, I was born with 4 kidneys. I had operation after operation after operation between the time I was 4 and 8. So I used to just go to sleep and then wake up in a bright recovery room. So trauma came without me even searching for it. So it was something natural. It's almost like putting my middle finger up to the devil, being clean and making songs that's all gangstered out, talking about whatever situation it is. And it gets deep and it's mostly about selling drugs. I'm just conveying my story through the scratch of certain thoughts that come into my mind about past situations, recreating them with the beat and everything behind it. Everybody at the meetings, they know that I got an album. I came in there with my wax and stuff, and they was trying to, buy the vinyl of Behold the Detonator. I had it for somebody else. I brought it to Thorough, actually. And, Shake the Devil's Hand and The Burning featured 2 clips from OT the Real freestyles that he did. So it's not from songs that may be, released on an album. But I always found one-liners from him to be spectacular for me to cut, not only because he repping Kensington and I feel like the reincarnation of Kensington come through him, but it's good to have a team. Don't forget, we got the Tough Crew album coming out September 9th on my birthday through Rough Nation, vinyl and digital. 10 songs, Tough Crew, all the original members, Tone Love, Ice Dog, LA Kid, and myself. Salute to Eric Victor, because Eric put up with us through the whole studio sessions and all that. Eric is like, he's an excellent engineer and he's a very patient dude to put up with us because we do silly, crazy shit. But there's a couple other projects that are out as well. Behold the Detonator dropped on vinyl. It was out on CD last July 15th, dropped all platforms in CD July 15th of last year. It just dropped on vinyl maybe 3 weeks ago. So people are scrambling. It looks good. It says North Side and South Side instead of side A and B. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. I got a great graphic designer, and he also made the beat for Call Me the D.O.C, which is like a Tough Crew ripoff, if you want to say it like that. I went back and took the acapella using the the track stripper. I used it off of Virtual DJ, but now it's on Serato where you could stem it out. Any song you got, you can make stems of it. So it's great to have an acapella of your own stuff, which we never had. Also, we never had an instrumental of our own stuff. And that instrumental appears on Behold the Detonator, official DJ instrumental. So I tried to fill a couple needs that I knew were out there. If I was a DJ, I would want my part of town instrumental, you know?
And I like on Call Me the Deuce too. You got the Cool Keith Ultramagnetic Papa Large on there as well.
Yeah.
So that was funny that he
observing cuts, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about, yeah, Call Me the Deuce. I'm pouring out like juice. Yeah, I love Cool Keith, man. The Ultra had a big influence on Tough Crew, and especially even me, it's still lasting. Because if I need energy, they Ultra always got it. You know, I'm the ultimate, the rhyme imperial. I'm better. Cool Keith got the hype voice, right? Legend.
Yeah. So with Me Versus Me, also, there's some songs I thought were interesting that the song titles, I couldn't really figure it out. So like Pillowcase, for instance, how and why is that the name of the cut when you got a lot of like Chuck D, Public Enemy #1 sample throughout there?
Well, the lead into Pillowcase is from the movie Step Brothers. And it's telling the boy he's gonna beat him when he goes to sleep with a pillowcase full of bars of soap. That's a famous jail threat. You know, people, you've seen it happen in movies and stuff like that. Maybe it was in the army in that movie, Full Metal Jacket. I think they pinned him down with a blanket. But you know, it's another salute towards violence. And then it goes into I Rock Them All, because it's like beating up the other DJs with a pillowcase full of soap. It's scratching the same thing over and over and over. I rock them all. Repetitive message. And then the beat flips up at the end. That was one of the first ones that I made for the album. So in a way, I was still getting used to using the MP. I wanted to find something funky and recognizable, but I wasn't Mantronics just yet, you know?
Yeah. And you got the rock steady there on the album.
I seen Cash Money cut the rock, but really my Uzi weighs a ton. Hold it, rock. That's where it came from. I actually took a little clip of Prophets of Rage. Okay, come on. I didn't use it on the album, but I got it set up. It didn't make the album. There were a couple songs that didn't make the album. I did a remake of Beanie Siegel, What's Your Life Like, with the sample from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So we might drop it on some type of EP with something else special.
Okay.
Salute to the brother C-Doc, man, and DJ M-Rock. If not for those two guys, you know, I wouldn't even have a shot at doing half the things that I think that I'm not going to accomplish. They put a lot in front of me. And I said yes, and then figured the rest out later. So that's a good way to become willing, force yourself to do something. It's not like I'm not scared when I go on stage and so. Yeah, my hands are shaking. It makes it easier if my hands are shaking. When it hits the wheels, it's already going a mile a minute. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So,
shout out to C-Doc for sure.
And especially Chuck D. It's always good to have a legendary co-sign as executive producer. Chuck has a new book coming out. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. We can leak it now. Don't worry. It's called Summer of Ham. And it has an album attached to it. I'm going to do a song. We're in the process of doing a song now. So it's really exciting for me to have feature Chuck D on my last album, even though it was only clips. But to have him as executive producer and then be doing a song for his book track is great, man. Just trying to stay grateful every day. Again, I got to pinch myself a couple times.
Yeah. Well, speaking of raps, on Trip to Flatbush, if I understand correctly, that's really the only song on Me Versus Me that has actual verses per se.
Yes.
So what made you want to do that there, and also to put it at the end of the album?
I got a friend out in New York. His name is Chayoke. He was the DJ for Tough Crew after I left Tough Crew. And I've since developed a relationship with him. He looks up to me as a production advisor and stuff like that. We share break beats. And he sent me that Snoop Dogg. When you try to be too tough, that's when your ass get checked. He sent it to me as a clip. And I was like, oh, that shit is hot. So I put it in the vault. I put it in the vault. And then he sent me a beat. And he also made that beat. So I like to, give somebody a shot who I know been loyal to me for a long time. He probably looks up to me. I guess it was big shoes for him to stand in to be the DJ after Too Tuff left. It's a fucking crater full of stuff that you got to fill with that one. I guess I don't know. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to fill my shoes. I don't even want to fill my own shoes when these albums are presented. I got to pray about it, and then it comes. But I didn't used to have the power of prayer. I could do it by myself. And it's going to take a lot of sweat and effort and anger. And I'm going to tell you to get out of my way. Or I can do it with God's help. And then things start to fall into place a little bit easier without me having to swim up the river. Let's use it real quick while we got a chance. I can swim against the river, going that way, knowing that the river is going this way. Or I could turn around and float down the river, right? Which is going to be easier. I don't know, because that river is much bigger than me. So I can consider it a higher power, right? Oh, wow, wait, we're starting to get it. We're starting to get it. And then the next minute, I take my will back and I start, I'm getting angry at something. Now I take my will back. So the whole me versus me thing is real life situation. And I'm happy to be able to have gotten it out into a musical form. It was therapeutic for me, honestly.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.